The ancient homeland of the Aryan race was believed to be the legendary Tool, the northernmost point on Earth, an entryway into a subterranean landscape peopled by giants. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I can thank NSMDOC and one of my subscribers for most of the content of this particular piece, because it was them that spurred me to look into this possibility and to think about it. And that is, we have a growing movement in the states in this country to reassert their independence from the federal government by passing resolutions affirming their rights under the 10th Amendment and the 9th Amendment. And that got me thinking that some of what's going on in the states right now could be a harbinger of what to expect from the federal government and what might be coming down the pike as far as, you know, things in the future. And looking at some of what has been happening, I continue to come back to a single problem, and that is the illegal immigration thing. And why is this something that should be much of an issue? Well, mainly the thing that brought it to my mind today, and it's kind of a circuitous loop, but I heard on the news today that Hershey was closing down another one of their plants in Pennsylvania, the one that produces the York peppermint patty. They're closing that plant, they're laying off more workers, and they're moving that factory to Mexico. That's correct. Most of Hershey's products are now made in Mexico. I strongly urge you to never buy fucking Hershey's products ever fucking again. Because anytime I want chocolate, the very first thing I fucking do is look at the label, and if it's Hershey's, I don't fucking buy it. Okay? That's okay. So I heard that, and that made me think of how a lot of jobs are leaving this country, and the fact that a lot of illegal immigrants are coming here for jobs that supposedly Americans won't do. Now, we're getting to the point in this economy now where people are going to be forced to work and do the jobs that they're required, that they'll be required to do them. I don't want to have any choice. I mean, whether they want to take them or not. So we're going to have a serious issue come up between the unemployed legal people in this country and the illegal immigrants who are here working those jobs. So that brought my focus on Texas and the increased amount of violence attributed to the war on drugs down in Mexico, and the fact that Mexico looks like it might be heading towards some sort of civil war or just outright rebellion, whatever, from the so-called drug kingpins, is causing a lot of unrest along the border. And of course, everyone knows we've done absolutely nothing to secure our fucking borders, because apparently this issue was not deemed to be important enough to act on with any timely fashion after the terrorist events, the so-called terrorist events of 9/11. They didn't seem to think it was a good idea to fucking secure the borders, to make sure there aren't fucking terrorists coming into the fucking country. But I digress. Anyway, all of this is wrapped up in the same idea. And that is that with Obama going to Canada and talking about free trade with Harper up there, and all of this unrest going on in Mexico. Now, we just found out that Kyrgyzstan is tossing the U.S. out of a base that they use there for support in Afghanistan, which is going to have a big impact on our forces over there. And we also have Netanyahu moving into prime ministership in Israel. what does all this mean? It could really mean nothing. But the way I see it, because there really hasn't been any talk, really, in the mainstream media, or any kind of focus whatsoever on Mexico. Now, NSMDOC put out his video, What's Next? Or What Next? And he talked about this, and it got me thinking that perhaps a lot of what is fucking going on right now is a great deal of distraction. Because if there's one thing that you can guarantee is when these motherfuckers who are in charge of everything in this goddamn country, whenever they got their stick caught in the motherfucking mud that they put it in, the first fucking thing that they can think of to try to jar it loose is more fucking war. So, that brings me to this. It's a possibility right now that we might have some kind of engagement with Mexico. Over illegal aliens, over the border, over the so-called drug kingpins, over the violence. Maybe, you know, they'll start killing U.S. citizens. It'll escalate into something that will turn into a full-fledged assault. Now, we don't hear a lot about this. Everything's focused on the economy, overseas, on Obama's trip to Canada, even today with the mayor's conference there, and all this kind of stuff. And we're not really looking there. And I'm telling you right now, we are coming up to a crisis point. We should have done something about the illegal immigration problem in this country years ago. But nobody wanted to step up and take fucking responsibility and do something about it. Okay? Now it's going to be forced to come to a fucking head. Because the masses of people in this country who are unemployed, the so-called fucking workers that they said would not touch the fucking jobs that these immigrants come up here and do, they're going to have no choice but to do those jobs. And what's going to happen to the fucking illegal immigrants when they're jobless? Are they going to go back home? Or are they going to stay here and drag down our economy even further? Just a greater pull and a weight down on our economy. And with all this violence going on in Mexico, this could be the precursor for something happening down there. And some people in Texas are not too happy with the way the situation is right now. There's a lot of people in Texas have guns. And I imagine there's a lot of fucking people in Texas that if anything happened along that motherfucking border down there, they'd be down there with their fucking guns right away. So even if it doesn't turn into a federal fucking problem, it's going to turn into a major fucking issue anyway. Because when those people don't have those jobs anymore, because there are people in this country out of work who have to take them, the so-called ones that won't work those jobs, that's two trains coming to meet. And then someone's going to have to finally address the entire idea of this illegal immigration problem in this country, and address what's going on in Mexico, address the border issue, and address all of these other things that no one wants to talk about. It's got to happen. It's going to happen soon. The economy keeps going down in the fucking toilet, and jobs keep running out and running down to fucking Mexico. Well, shit! Maybe we'll be immigrating down to Mexico illegally so we could work in a fucking Hershey plant. You see what I'm talking about? There's going to be nothing here for them. And what's going to happen when those 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, how many ever million illegal aliens are in this country when they don't have work to do? Well, they left Mexico because they didn't have nothing to do down there. What are they going to do? Which society are they going to pull down? Are they going to go back to that crime-infested gangland violence and everything else that's portrayed down there? Or are they going to stay here? Use your fucking head and figure it out. Something's going to happen with that. Thank you, NSMDOC, and thanks to some of my commenters for pointing me in this direction. Thank you. Good night.